Did you know that one of the greatest financial advisors in history is found in the Bible? His name is Joseph, the man God raised up in Egypt, and his story reveals timeless principles about saving, managing resources, and stewarding finances with divine wisdom. Long before modern banks, investment firms, or financial advisors existed, God was already teaching humanity how to prepare, preserve, and prosper through obedience and vision. Saving did not begin as a human invention. It began as a biblical principle rooted in foresight, discipline, and trust in God. When you understand this truth, your finances no longer have to be ruled by chance, fear, or constant pressure. They can be transformed by wisdom that comes from God Himself. Not luck, not manipulation, and not temporary gain, but lasting order and purpose. Joseph's journey from a prison cell to the palace was not driven by wealth or ambition, but by obedience, integrity, and a God-given vision. His financial wisdom was not separate from his faith. It flowed directly from it. Everything he managed, stored, and planned was an act of trust in what God had revealed. And embedded in his story are powerful principles that still apply today. Principles that can move you from scarcity to stability, from anxiety to peace, and from survival to stewardship. The first principle we learn from Joseph is that he saved because he had vision, not fear. During the 7 years of abundance in Egypt, most people lived as if the good times would never end. They ate freely, spent generously, and celebrated without restraint. But Joseph saw beyond the moment. God had shown him what was coming, and that revelation shaped his actions. His saving was not a reaction to panic or uncertainty. It was a response to divine insight. Vision teaches you to look beyond what you feel today and prepare for what you may face tomorrow. Wise people do not save because they are afraid to lose what they have. They save because they understand that abundance without purpose eventually disappears. In Genesis, we see that during the years of plenty, the land produced in great abundance, and Joseph intentionally collected and stored food throughout the cities. He did not improvise. He planned. Biblical saving always begins with preparation before the need arrives. God does not bless a life that drifts from moment to moment. He blesses a life that moves with direction. Saving starts when you stop reacting emotionally and start obeying eternal wisdom. The second principle is that Joseph established a clear percentage. God instructed Pharaoh through Joseph to set aside a fifth of the harvest, 20%. This was not a vague suggestion or an emotional decision. It was a fixed portion, a disciplined commitment. Joseph did not say, "Let's save whatever is left over." He said, "Let's set aside a specific amount first." Biblical saving is not based on feelings. It is based on order. Many people promise themselves that they will start saving when they earn more, but that day rarely comes because saving is not about income level. It is about structure. God was teaching a principle that still works today. Set aside before you spend, not after. When you do this, you are not just saving money. You are training your mind to manage resources wisely. The amount matters less than the consistency. Whether it is a small sum or a large one, what matters is obedience and purpose. Order always attracts provision, and those who honor God through discipline often experience abundance even when others struggle. The third principle is structure. Joseph organized resources intentionally. Scripture tells us that he stored food in the cities, distributing it wisely instead of placing everything in one location. This shows planning, systems, and foresight. Many people fail financially not because they earn too little, but because they lack structure. It is not enough to save. You must know where your resources are going and why. Joseph did not have modern financial tools, but he had divine wisdom that guided his management. That wisdom created a system so effective that no one starved during the famine. Disorganization is often the enemy of blessing. God does not pour abundance into chaotic hands. When you organize your finances, creating categories for savings, giving, emergencies, and growth, you make room for stewardship. Structure creates peace, clarity, and sustainability. The fourth principle is consistency. Joseph stored grain for 7 consecutive years. Not for a short season, not until it felt inconvenient, but faithfully and steadily. Saving was not a temporary goal. It was a lifestyle. Joseph did not abandon the plan when people grew tired or complacent. He understood that discipline today creates security tomorrow. Those who save only when motivated rarely see lasting results. God honors consistency more than excitement. Saving is like planting seeds. You do not see results immediately, but the harvest comes in time. Faithfulness in small, unseen actions leads to great outcomes later. The fifth principle is that Joseph did not confuse abundance with permission to spend freely. Many people believe that when resources increase, restraint can disappear. When money is available, they spend carelessly. When it is gone, they pray desperately. Joseph avoided this cycle. He understood that success without self-control can destroy faster than lack. Proverbs teaches that the wise store up choice food and oil, while fools consume everything they have. The issue is not having resources, it is how they are handled. Saving is not greed, and it is not a lack of faith. It is honoring what God entrusts to you. God gives abundance to be managed, not wasted. The sixth principle is purpose. Joseph's saving was not selfish, it was life-saving. When famine came, Egypt had food, and nations came to Joseph for provision. His wisdom preserved lives and fulfilled God's promise to his family. Biblical saving is never meant to end with self. It is about becoming a channel of blessing. Your savings can support others, fund ministry, meet urgent needs, and advance God's kingdom. God does not multiply what is hoarded out of fear. He multiplies what is reserved with vision. Every resource you steward with purpose can become part of something greater than you. The seventh principle is that faithfulness in management leads to promotion. Joseph began in prison, but he rose to govern Egypt because he demonstrated order, wisdom, and trustworthiness. God promotes those who manage well, not those who only pray for increase. Faithfulness with small things prepares you for greater responsibility. Saving trains you to lead because leadership requires stewardship. Joseph stored grain, but more importantly, he stored trust. When the moment came, God positioned him because he had proven faithful. The eighth principle is humility. Joseph recognized that his wisdom came from God. When praised, he redirected the glory, acknowledging that interpretation and insight came from the Lord. True biblical prosperity flows from communion with God, not human intelligence alone. Financial decisions should not be made in isolation from prayer. God can guide you on when to save, when to invest, and when to give. Wisdom without God becomes mere calculation. Joseph's saving was spiritual before it was practical. The ninth principle is influence. Joseph's discipline positioned him as a leader of nations. Saving creates stability, but it also creates authority. Those who manage resources wisely are often entrusted with greater influence. Stewardship reveals readiness for leadership. Managing money well is preparation for managing responsibility. The 10th principle is that saving became an act of faith. For Joseph, management was worship. Every time he stored grain, he was declaring trust in what God had revealed. When crisis came, his obedience became provision. Saving under God's direction is not a lack of faith, it is faith in action. It demonstrates belief in a God who provides today and tomorrow. Joseph's story teaches us that money is not the problem. Lack of purpose is. God does not desire his people to live trapped by debt, fear, or disorder. He desires freedom, clarity, and blessing rooted in wisdom. The lesson is clear. Plan before spending. Set aside with purpose. Remain consistent. Act with vision. And acknowledge God as the source. When you live this way, money becomes a tool, not a burden. God multiplies good management, not disorder. Do not wait for a crisis to obey. Begin while there is still abundance. The same God who gave Joseph wisdom is ready to guide you today. It is not luck, it is obedience. It is not magic, it is management. And it is not selfish, it is vision. If this message helped you grow in biblical wisdom, like video, comment what principle spoke to you most, and subscribe Daily Bible Light for more teachings that align faith, wisdom, and everyday life.